What is up, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Pez's Picks. As always, I'm Jeff Hartman. I'm not the guy with the picks. That's Pez. First, before we get to Pez, the man with the picks, I want to say if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We do appreciate it. And also, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating. Leave us a good comment on Apple. It does help with the algorithm when we're trying to get noticed. When a guy like Pez can give you the prediction that Michael Penix Jr. is going to go 8th overall to the Atlanta Falcons, hello. Wake up, people. He's giving you money. What's up, Pez? How are you?
Appreciate it, Jeff. I mean, I love it. I love you introduced me. I'd like to wake up to that, Jeff. I need my family, We did hit it big with Mike Penix Jr.
Yeah.
I'm happy for the guy. Enough of the whining out of this Cousins, Jeff. To be honest with you, the guy's got like a 1-4 playoff record, lifetime. Nice man, tough player. But who is Kirk Cousins? Who's he to get upset that his team dumped him and he got picked up by this team and they paid him a lot? Be happy you're getting the money. Help the kid out. I mean, he's a nice guy. I think I'm an Atlanta fan, Jeff. I don't know. Might be my new team.
I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but it's definitely been rocking the boat of the National Football League. The fact that the Atlanta Falcons chose to take not just a quarterback, but they took Penix Jr., who was thought to be a late first-round pick, second-round pick at number 8 overall, top 10 selection. But nonetheless, we're not here to talk about the NFL draft. We're here to talk about the NBA playoffs, and you have had a very, very nice record so far this postseason. We said it last week. I'll say it again this week. If you aren't checking out Pez's picks on Instagram or Twitter, you're missing. You're missing out on a lot because we're going to give you a pick for Thursday night and Friday night today, but he's giving you picks for all the other games, including the Kentucky Derby coming up. Pez, your Instagram feed is booming right now.
We've been hot, Jeff. That Instagram, it brings out the winners in Pez's picks. We're 12-4 through the first 2 weeks of the NBA, about 75%. I think if I do quick math there, Jeff.
Yeah.
So we're scorching hot. Like in the NFL, we're riding teams that are hitting all the boxes we look for in our system. And Orlando Magic have been great to us. We've been jumping on some of those West Coast teams. I mean, the Lakers series was one that was pretty lucrative if you got on the right side, and you got to go with the trends. And we have a couple for this week as well. We're putting some out on Instagram today. I mean, when you find data that teams in certain situations are hitting 70 to 80% of the time throughout the season, I mean, that's more than a trend to us, Jeff. We look for that. And Orlando is a great covering team. The Dallas Mavericks are a fantastic covering team. When you look at teams like Milwaukee and then teams like Denver, not so much. And I guess some of the results we're seeing are kind of match the data that we're seeing too. And teams can win, but not win overwhelmingly. And those teams we're looking not to bet on, Jeff. We need dominant wins. And we were proud last week. We took the Miami Heat against the Celtics, and they had a big win. I think coaching matters in the NBA a lot too. And Spoelstra, very good coach. Looks like one game he did something that didn't match up right, but they've kind of caught up to him. So it gets tougher though, Jeff. Trying to warn everybody, let's calm down a little bit. As series come to an end, teams play desperate or they pack it up. And that is a tough thing to predict. You got to get into the local media. You got to look into local sports pages who talk to you about, the shoot-arounds. Are guys sluggish? Are they in or are they out? Yesterday was a confusing day for Pez's picks. We took the day off. Joel Embiid did not participate in the shoot-around. He had a migraine. There's injuries left and right. There's guys that seemingly checked out. When I saw that, I thought to myself, Sixers are done. This guy's not in the shoot-around. They've already checked out. Then they went out and had their best game of the series. Took it to overtime with the win. So we got a lot of numbers to keep pushing, and we're going to find those winners, Jeff. We're going to keep finding them.
I think yesterday was a proud moment for me. You channeled your inner Kenny Rogers. You got to know when to hold him. You got to know when to fold him. And you said, know what? I don't have a beat on this. I'm not just going to give you a pick. Take note of that, listeners and viewers out there. Take note. We're not just going to throw you picks. We're going to give you the picks that we're confident with. I say it's him. That's fine. Let's talk about last week's picks on the podcast. We had two games Thursday, I believe. The Magic and the Cavs. And we had the Sixers and the Knicks. We took the Magic giving 2. We took the Sixers giving 4.5. Both of those pulled through for us. We finished 2-0 last week. So that was a good week of picks. Anything to add about those games?
Jeff, in the right situations, Orlando Magic is covering at an unprecedented rate, over 70% in some situations. So, we're going to be looking to take them again later in the week here. A strange series. I mean, Orlando and Cleveland have kind of blown each other out, and pretty even teams, but I think Orlando has a work rate that they're going to defend. They're going to run the floor. They're going to rebound. So if they're hitting their shots, especially from beyond the arc, 3-point shot, they're a tough team to beat. A great covering team. And I like watching them a lot. The Sixers last week, we took them right, Jeff, on Thursday. So
Yeah.
a situational team, I think, is a great way to explain the Philadelphia 76ers, where I think we're going to have really great games, and they're going to put up some donkeys too. Where Maxey and Embiid, you're not going to see one of those guys put in 40 plus or 50 in a game in the playoffs very often. So, I'm worried about the Sixers going forward. The health of Joel Embiid is a huge question mark. The guy's barely moving out there, still dominant physically, but they don't have much help. They have nothing off the bench, and as we get deeper into the playoffs, teams with deeper rotations are going to get better and better. Oklahoma, Dallas, Minnesota has a deep bench, and Denver put some extra guys out there. Milwaukee's showing they've got a deep bench. They're sticking in this series, and they barely have any star playing. I mean, Lillard and Giannis are out, so it's going to get tougher. But we're going to keep looking at these numbers and keep following the data and the high percentage bets.
All right, let's talk about this week's selections in the NBA playoffs. We have a game on Thursday and a game on Friday. Both of these games are potential elimination games. Pez, you already mentioned how that can bring out the best or sometimes the worst in the opposition, the teams that are facing that elimination. Let's start off on Thursday night. The New York Knicks, who are up 3-2 against the 76ers that you just talked about. The Knicks are getting 3.5 points. You like the Knickerbockers, am I right?
Correct, Jeff. I love Brunson. I think New York's a little bit deeper. They're long. They've done a good job keeping Joel Embiid in check for most part. He had one big blowout game, but they've made that guy work a lot. And when Joel works, guy's injured a lot, questionable fitness rate for Joel Embiid. He's got a little bit of a spare tire, Jeff. So in the fourth quarters, the guy's been running out of gas. He's been diagnosed with Bell's palsy, and it's been a rough year for Joel Embiid. I like the guy. Leaves it all out there. I just think he's a difficult player to win with because he's so dominating. It's kind of like Dan Marino. The guy was so good, you almost couldn't win with the guy, right? You wanted to watch him. You wanted to watch that guy zing the ball, to Duper and whoever was out there, Clayton, I think. Same thing with Joel. You want to watch a 7'5" guy carry the ball, shoot threes, but I don't know if that equates to wins all the time. And if he's not Superman, I don't have faith in that team. So I like the Knicks. I like the Knicks in this situation. New York, they controlled the stadium over the weekend in Philly. That arena was full of Knicks fans, which was kind of an embarrassment. Joel even made a comment about it. So I think all things point to the Knicks. When we look at the numbers, you take the injuries into account. I love the Knicks. And that line's dropping, Jeff. I think it's probably going to be about 2.5 at game time. I'm seeing 3 right now. And, unfortunately, I like the Knicks in this one a lot.
Okay. Another potential elimination. So you're saying the Sixers could be done. So could the Orlando Magic, a team that we've been talking about a lot this season, especially towards the tail end of the season, is the fact they cover so much. They go up against the Cavaliers team. Cleveland's up 3-2. Orlando, the line that I have, according to my ESPN app, is -4.5. You said there was no line at the time that you gave me the pick. Are you seeing the same line?
I think around 2.5 to 4 probably is going to be what it is. I love Orlando in this situation. Unbelievable covering rate team at home. I mean, we're talking over 70%. Cleveland's good team. I think when you match them up, they're very even. And that game showed it last night. I mean, Orlando covered last night. So I think they're a better covering team. And if they're shooting anywhere near 40% beyond 3-point arc, they're going to win their games. They're going to defend. They're going to rebound. And the data says Orlando in this situation is a strong bet. If it goes to 5, I mean, that's a lot of points. But I think anything 4, 4.5 or below is definitely a take. Once it gets to 5 or more, I think that's a tough thing to look at too going forward.
So those are our picks for this week. The Knicks and the Orlando Magic. Thursday night Knicks, Sixers. Friday night Cavs, Magic. My question for you is, if people that follow you on Instagram or even on your Twitter feed, they know that recently you've been doing some plays that are first quarter bets. What is it about certain games? I know you talked about Spoelstra and the Heat and how you thought they were going to come out strong. I believe you lost one of those with the Lakers earlier this week. What is it about a game about a coach, about a team that would make you lean more towards that first quarter bet or maybe a first half bet compared to the overall winner?
Well, with basketball, we have a ton of data. So, it's broken down by quarter, by fourth quarter. The Lakers won every first quarter in that series, except for the one we took, Jeff. And when I was watching the game, with a minute to go, we were sailing. We were easy. They gave up 2 threes and a last second layup for us to lose by half a point. So we should have won that one outright. I was kicking
Yeah.
myself most of that quarter thinking money line. Some teams start really well, and it generally are teams that are veteran, skilled players who don't have a deep bench. And then after the first quarter, you got to take guys out. So second quarter, teams that are a little bit deeper bench, teams that are a little bit younger, LeBron and Davis, they need a break. So if it was just a one quarter series, probably LeBron and Davis, they win the whole thing. But once you empty that bench a little bit in LA, they're not very good. Contrast fourth quarter for the Philadelphia 76ers, not a very strong team. They haven't finished games very well. They're either having a blowout lead or when it's tight, they generally lose, which was, why last night a guy I worked with told me it was like an 87% chance the Knicks were going to cover last night with about a minute left in the game. So there are trends you can follow with it. The one thing that's dangerous with NBA playoff gambling, towards the end of a game, some teams are going to play their butt off, and no matter what the score is. Other teams that are veteran laden, they're going to check out. They're pulling these guys out. They don't care if they lose by 10 or if it's 40. So sometimes I feel it's a safer play to take a first half or a first quarter wager. You're getting 100% best effort out of everybody on the court.
Yeah. Okay. So there's our NBA picks. Got the Derby to talk about, though, Pez. I'm sure that you're all about the Kentucky Derby. You said you've been to the Derby, correct?
Been twice, Jeff. 2002 was my only in-person Derby win. I put $10 on the 5 biggest long shots, and one of them happened to be War Emblem. I believe it's 49-1, and that was a hell of a weekend, Jeff. I was already up on. We talked about it on Instagram. My favorite horse track in-person bet is the $2 3-horse exacta box, Jeff. It's a $12 bet, so you're making a $12 investment. You can put the fave in with maybe a long shot, maybe a medium horse. You'd be shocked, Jeff, how often that long shot and that number one horse, that favorite hit, you could walk away with $200, $700 on a $2 exacta box. You get the right number. So I've survived off of those at that Derby. I used my earnings on that War Emblem bet. I think I was already up 400 or 500. Just Kentucky Derby. You're drinking a lot of alcohol. I don't know if anybody knows that, Jeff. I don't know if I should say this on but there's a lot of consumption of alcohol, so you don't want to be betting big numbers. I don't think at the Kentucky Derby, unless you're some high roller. But
Yeah.
I think a $10 to $20 bet per race is a good way to survive. If you hit one, you paid for your bets all day. The Derby itself is until I believe it's the 11th or 12th race. It's late in the card, Jeff. You're there all morning and all afternoon, and then the Derby hits. So you want to have a little bit of extra scratch to lay on. It's a 20-horse race, and we have long shots that win this Derby. That's a cool thing about it. War Emblem wasn't the only one. I mean, long shots happen sometimes intentionally. Trainers and owners will run the horse to lose to get the odds up really big. And that's kind of hard to prove. I don't think it's illegal, but there's not much illegal in horse track lifestyle, Jeff. I mean, pretty much $20 bill at a horse track can get you anything. You might be able to ride a horse if you tip the right guy $20. So it's a wonderful place for gamblers.
So you've been to the Kentucky Derby. Have you been to the Preakness and to the Belmont as well?
Been to them all, Jeff, and there's nothing like the Derby. The Derby is itself it's a 2-day event. On Friday we have the Oaks. We have the lady horses run, and that's a packed, fun day. And the Derby itself is it's in an interesting neighborhood. You've got it's not a high economic area around there, but you'll see a house that looks to be a regular family with 5 Bentleys parked in front of it. They sell spots. People bring out barbecues. There's illegal bars and parties all over that neighborhood, Jeff. You can get some of the best barbecue you ever had. You'll see a Rolls Royce in front of a mobile home. It's an amazing day, Jeff. Everything comes together. To get to the infield, you walk under the track, which is a creepy thing, and people wear costumes. And 20 guys will be dressed as like Where's Waldo or something like that. So I've gone with a dozen Elvises before, and that's an interesting day, Jeff. I mean, you'd be surprised. Lots of attention for those Elvi down there.
I do know the Preakness, which is in the Baltimore area. The infield gets rather raucous from time to time. I'm not sure if the Derby is as bad as that, but so yeah, that's interesting. So what are you thinking in terms of plays for the Derby? Do you have any of those, or what are you thinking
Well,
there?
we've got some horses we like, Jeff, and it depends on the type of gambler. I mean, anybody likes to bet the Derby if you're hanging out the one race, but a true two-track gambling, person, degenerate, whatever you would call him, Jeff. We like to study the track that day, and different track conditions will kind of favor a horse or a jockey a lot of times. So, what we found at the big tracks in Kentucky, Keeneland's another big track I've been to a lot of times in Lexington. It's the classiest track in America, Jeff. It's an amazing thing. You got to wear a suit jacket. It's weird. So, horses that run well in Kentucky or horses that run well in certain conditions, you can try to match that up. Sometimes that happens. Jockeys, though, sometimes a jockey will get really hot. The jockeys tend to run every race. So if there's a guy that's got 3 wins on the day, you start thinking about that. You're going to put money on that horse in the Derby, whether it's a 50-1 or the favorite. So a lot can be found from that. But when we look at our bets, our system with horse betting, Jeff, is everyone has to take the name into account. You can't bet a horse with a bad name. No, no Japanese horse has ever won, Jeff. So we're not going to even talk about them. And it's a hard race to win if you're a rookie jock. So there's a lot of things we can take in. Our our first horse, everybody loves this horse, Jeff. I don't even know if I'm saying I love it. It's the favorite, Sierra Leone. It's in the second position, Jeff. So we're going to line up 20 horses. If the railing is inside, 1 goes out, 20's on the outside. Number 2, Jeff, that second stall has won 7 Kentucky Derbies. It's a hot spot. Tough for some horses to run out of it. From what I've read about this horse, it's a little jittery. I think they had just put the blinders on him, which kind of blocks the horse's vision left or right. So aside from it being on the rail, everybody loves this horse. It's coming in great form. Chad Brown, great trainer, has never won the Derby, so there's a little story there. I don't really like the jockey though, Jeff. He's never won a Derby. He doesn't have much Triple Crown success. So to me, 3-1 is the odds. He's a come from behind horse. He did win at the Keeneland track, but I don't know, it's no fun betting the favorite, Jeff. It's no fun. We can't do that.
Yeah.
Second horse we like, Just Steel. Currently, it's a 20-1. It's in the 6th position. It's a Wayne Lucas horse. To me, he's the best trainer alive, Jeff. The guy's a little shady, but whatever, that's fine. Great jockey. He's got Keith Asmussen. Steve Asmussen's the greatest, most money-making horse trainer in the history of trading. This is his son that's riding the horse. This guy's uncle was, I believe, a Derby winning jockey too. So we're talking about a kid who's going to be on a horse, who's great, has the speed to win, who probably knows more than any jockey out there between his dad and his uncle. And with Lucas, I mean, the guy's like a horse whisperer. Love that horse. 16th position, we have another favorite, Fierceness, Jeff. I think he's 5-2, kind of a 3-1 kind of horse. Thing I love most about this guy, his jockey is, Jeff, I've made more money off this jockey than probably anybody in my life. Johnny Velasquez, Jeff. My friends, I can hear him right now. Any horse this guy's on, I bet he's won 3 Derbies. Really, he won 4 a few years back. They took one away from him because they claimed he cut a horse off, which sounded like a bunch of BS to me, Jeff. But speed horse, you got the best jockey. I think he's 52 years old. The guy has ridden thousands of races. Jockey makes a huge difference at the Kentucky Derby. That track is bizarre. When they run by it, Jeff, the entire ground shakes. It's like a stampede. It's an unbelievable race to be at. So you got to know what you're doing, and I think nobody better than Velasquez. Our long shot bet, Jeff, post 18, he's all the way on the outside. I like local people in these races. If you read, there were a couple local jockeys in Augusta. Their guys played really well. Local people, they know the track, they know the course. Great jockey. Resilience is 20-1. It's a horse that they claim could win the Derby, but every horse they claim that, Jeff. And I don't know. I like the jockey, Junior Alvarado. I've won money on his family members. Those are our 4 current horses we're taking, Jeff. But let's take Sierra Leone off our list. That's boring. Nobody wants a front-running guy, Jeff. So Sierra Leone, I don't think is winning the Derby. I'm going to be the first guy to say that right now.
Well, that's like for me when I do my golf odds, when I'm like, Scotty Scheffler's plus 400. Yeah, he's probably going to win. But that's boring. Like nobody wants to say the
It's boring.
favorite's going to win. Yeah. So, all right,
Great
that's
day
good
though.
stuff.
We'll have some more info coming out. Tracks are great. I mean, we had a horse pull out yesterday, so a lot of stuff happens in horse betting, and it's something you got to be on the ball that day. And we'll be putting some videos out and throughout the day on Derby Day, keeping everybody up to date with weather changes. If it rains, and who knows, Jeff? Then it becomes a mutter race, and that's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you take a look at the Byron Nelson coming up this weekend in the PGA Tour? Probably not.
Shockingly boring
Oh,
field, Jeff. I mean, look,
awful.
the
Awful.
Byron used to be a classy tournament that
Yes.
Tiger wanted to win. I'm going Jason Day. He was the only guy on there that I think hits it straight. You got to hit it straight, big rough in Byron's course, and disrespect. It's Byron Nelson. Where are all these guys? Where's Rory? Where after winning that fraud couples tournament he was in last week? What is that?
The Zurich? I don't know. Yeah. Well, the funny thing is we talked about, like I just mentioned, how Scotty Scheffler would be like plus 400. He's not playing in this tournament, but Jordan Spieth is the odds-on favorite to win at plus 1,400. That's what it tells you about the field, man. Plus 1,400 is the odds-on favorite to win. If Rory's in the tournament, it's plus 900, plus 750. Plus 1,400 is Jordan Spieth, who I actually like in this tournament, by the way.
I mean, I like him in every tournament. If he's hitting the driver anywhere near the fairway, the guy's going to win every week, and that's a hard thing to do. I mean, it's difficult.
You and I know that as golfers. It's tough for us too.
It breaks my heart, Jeff, every time.
All right, Pez, what's your final thoughts this week?
Well, let's keep it, nice and organized with the NBA, Jeff, and let's keep punching our numbers for the Derby. There's really no rules, Jeff. Today, if you're lucky enough to be near a track or somewhere, bet every race. Put $5 on every long shot. I guarantee one hits out of those 12 or 13 races they're running that day, Jeff.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Make sure you're checking us out on Pez's Picks on Instagram and Twitter, and that is at Pez's Picks. You can't miss it. You get daily picks, way more stuff than what we're providing just once a week here. And we are going to plan on, once football gears up again, we're going to double up our podcast. We're going to be doing 2 a week, talking about games, picks. I'm not sure we're going to go into the parlays, but I know you love them, Pez. So good stuff.
We can talk about them for sure.
Yeah, your boy Legs and his parlays.
All
right, Pez. Good stuff. Enjoy the Derby this weekend. We'll be keeping an eye on the Instagram feed and those NBA picks. Take it easy, man. We'll talk next week.
See you.